dark and everything. And his wife gets the same thing. This guy gets so you know what happened? It's just mind-boggling. The hurricane was coming towards them. Then all of a sudden it switched like northwest, and it went up at another angle, and it left the area. And the same with all the water. He doesn't know what happened to the water, but somehow all the water sort of swung in some other direction. And you know where it hit? It hit the town where this guy lived. And that town was tremendously damaged.
Wow.
Very, very heavily damaged. And all the people who got out, there was almost nobody left in that village. So the Rebbe told him, in the place of Masiras Nefesh, you must be quick, you have to move quick. And he gets 2 answers to make a citizen for bringing. So he sent me on my email, he sent me 3 pictures, 2 pictures, and then a little movie, sort of a picture that moved for a few minutes, it sound, you know. And you got all these guys sitting there in the dark with candles, and you know, they're sort of and the little thing that moved showed them all beating the table and singing. I thought you might like that. That's sort of a lead-in that I felt, but it's just absolutely. He wrote me an email today that they're still in the dark. They don't have any light or power, but we'll send their phone. He decided not to stay home. He didn't want to leave.
Unbelievable.
Did you ever hear that?
Iran, right?
Huh?
Iran, you're ready.
Did you?
So he was explaining how to, didn't know whether to leave it or not. We can't tell the Rebbe what we should do. No.
Okay, so it's well known that on Erev Rosh Hashanah by the Rebbe, the Rebbe used to receive puns.
The second part.
The Rebbe used to receive panim on Erev Rosh Hashanah. So that went in like 2 stages or 2 sort of ways that it functioned. First of all, the Rebbe, after Shacharis downstairs, the Rebbe would go up, and a few minutes after, he would open his door, and he stood mamish in the doorway of his office, and people filed by, a huge door, and each person gave the Rebbe his personal pun. It was one of the few sort of personal touches that was very still in. And several times I was able to do that. I filed past the Rebbe in a very big line, and I took out my pun. I gave it to the Rebbe. When the Rebbe finished that, which took a long time, we're talking about a lot of people, and people would come in especially from all around to give a pun to the Rebbe. It's not just the people who were downstairs, you know, it was a lot of people. So after that, they had what's called a pan klali. They used to write a pidyon nefesh b'shem kol kahal, you know, all the kahal chassidim were called klali, so that was called the pan klali. And then very important people used to come up close to the Rebbe's door, and after he'd received all the panim pratiyim, he would then take the pan klali, and then he would say a bracha, you know, and he would give over like a brief sikha. It was like a little sikha, but it was all in the form of a blessing. And then people would usually give the Rebbe in the pan klali. They would give the Rebbe a bracha, you know, somebody has to wish the Rebbe a good year, you know. So they used to wish the Rebbe a good year, and, you know, he should have gesund, he should lead the Klal Yisrael to Mashiach, you know, the whole thing. So the Rebbe used to thank them for that. He'd say, yes, you know. So, what this Sikha tonight is in Toshin Beis, the Rebbe didn't just receive the Panklodi and make a bracha, but he said a whole big long Sikha, yeah. And that's what we're going to learn tonight. An amazing Sikha when he received the Pan Klali, the Pidyon Never Klali. And that's what we're going to learn. Okay, so
you want this one? You want
yeah, I think it's right.
Yeah, do you want it? You want this?
No, I'm fine with this. Here we go. It's really quite amazing. It shows us what was the air at that particular time. The Rebbe was into the whole union of the Gilui Moshiach, and everybody felt, you know, the air of Moshiach very, very powerfully at that time. So you can see it in the Sikha. So the Rebbe says, "Benager li'inyanei din." Yeah, but Torah, in reference to a din in front of a Beis Din. Here we're talking about din in a foshet. There are two types of din. There's what we call din in Mominers, and there's din in a foshet. Here we're talking about a particular din in a foshet. Where there's a din in a foshet, shekeshurim. B'miyuhadim yomim eila hanikroim yamei hadin, what that has a particular connection with these days where we find ourselves now, that they're called yamei hadin. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Seres Meitzuvah, are called yamei hadin. So the Rebbe said, Echel miyom hadin to Rosh Hashanah. It all begins with the main din of Rosh Hashanah, and then it continues through the Seres Meitzuvah up until and including Yom Kippur. So the Rebbe says, Yeshnoi psak din shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Torah, in reference to a din and a judgment which involves pikut, a din in a forces, then you have an open psak din from the Eibishter. Yes, הדין צריך להיות באופן דבשופטו העדה והצילו העדה. Now it's written in Parshas at the end of Sefer Bamidbar. It's written, what about somebody who kills somebody b'shoigeg? So what does the Seder? If he kills somebody b'shoigeg, then he flees to the Orim Miklat, to one of the Orim Miklat, and he's safe for the time being from the person that's called the Goel Hadam. The Goel Hadam means somebody from the Mishpocha who might want to kill him because he killed their family member. And he's called the Goel Hadam. So he's able to flee to a city of refuge to avoid the Goel Hadam. What happens is after that, it's written that the Eidah, what the Eidah is referring in Parshas to the congregation, but it actually means the Sanhedrin. They send to the Ir HaMiklat and they bring him into the Beis Din, into the Sanhedrin, and they judge the case. Yeah? So it's written that the Eidah sends and they bring him from the Ir HaMiklat, and then it's written B'shoftu ha'Eidah. They have to judge the whole case according to the evidence and according to what they have in front of them. Then the next pasuk says, V'hitzilo ha'Eidah. The Eidah has to save the shoyeg man from the Goel Hadam. In other words, that what that means is that if they find that there's no real, proof according to Eidim, that he really did it, or there's any sophic or doubt about it whatsoever, so then the Sanhedrin has to paskin, or does paskin, that, you can't kill him, you can't give him to the Goel Adam. So in that case, what do you do? You have to send him back to the Miklot, and he has to be there till the passing of the Kohen Gadol, till the death of the Kohen Gadol. You've heard about it, yeah. But that's the Seder. However, it's like two psukim. There's one pasuk says, "V'shoftu ha'eda," the Eda will judge. Then the next pasuk begins, and it says, "V'hitzilu ha'eda." The Eda's going to rescue this man and send him back to the Ori Miklat. So, what is the Mishnah and Gemara in Masechta Sanhedrin? What do they learn from that? The smallest Sanhedrin that you can have to judge in the Parshas is 23. The Sanhedrin of God will be Jerusalem is 71. But there can be a Sanhedrin which can be judged in the Parshas 23. So the Mishnah in Masechta, right at the beginning in Masechta Sanhedrin, the Mishnah says, why 23? Because you got to have Eidah Shofetes, and you got to have Eidah Matzila. In other words, how much is Eidah? Eidah is 10, right? 10 people. We learned that from the Meraglim there ago. Eidah is 10 people. And that's how we learn a minyan. It's the whole din of a minyan we learn from them. That's called a Eidah. So you've got to have a Eidah, 10 people that they're able to judge him. You've got to have 10 people that they will save him. And then the Mishnah says, however, you can't have two equal numbers, because if you do, it might be 10-10, and then you won't know what to do. So you have to have extra, and you have to have it in such a way that you can paskin l'toivo al pi dayan echad. If there's one dayan more, that's enough to save the person. But to be machayev him, you got to have two. You got to have two people over and above the other lot. You follow? If you have two, then you can be machayev him. Or we have to have two. But to save him, it's enough one. So the Mishnah makes a whole cheshbon that if you have three, then you can be in such. And later the Gemara asks a question, and there's a whole discussion. Oh, but that's the way it is. That the whole Sanhedrin is built on the principle of saving the person. You follow? Because you have to have 23 in order that you can save him easier. You follow? You can have one person is enough. One dayan is enough to save him. Mm-hmm. So we see then that the whole judgment of a din al pitera is based on judging, but at the same time, there's an ikeh in the whole idea of saving. Have you got the idea? In other words, you have to save the person from the judgment. So the Rebbe says that's a klal in Jewish law, in how to judge in Jewish Sanhedrins. So the Rebbe says that if that's what the Sanhedrin does, then the Eibusha for sure does it. Why? Because whatever the Eibusha commands people to do, he for sure does it. So when he judges on Rosh Hashanah, the whole Ika emphasis is on saving. Hatzilo ha'eda. The Eibusha is looking only to make good. He wants to put you in the din, but he's interested in paskening for you the best possible way. Amen. Therefore the Rebbe says, Shadjin tzorik liya is beima v'shoftu ha'ida, however v'hatzilo ha'ida. Dahainu, shadin kulei eina ela bigdei she'yitoisav yoiser v'hatzilo. The whole idea of the din is there should be more emphasis on the idea of saving. You follow? Well, it's an amazing idea when you think about it. It's an unbelievable comparison. It says there is Atla Shlemas de Hatzilu Begula midas bashlema can come and save Gimel. So the Rebbe says, if the Abbas is interested in saving, what is the ultimate way of saving the Jewish people? Now see, if the whole Indian on Rosh Hashanah, you're interested in saving the one who's being judged, is bring the Gula Shlema. That's the best way to do it. That's what the Rebbe is going to connect the whole thing together. So the Rebbe says we see reflected in a very interesting din on Erev Rosh Hashanah, which reflects this whole principle. And the Rebbe said, Ki de'isa bator, kepsak din, avu b'shemavia me'amedras. He paskins the din, but he really doesn't paskin it in himself. He brings it from a medras, which signs it's tens of generations before the Torah. So who is the Torah? The Torah is the son of the Rosh. He was, the Rabbeinu Bala told him, he was the son of the latter Rishon called the Rosh. You heard of the Rosh? He's got a huge pirush on the whole Shas. That's the, so his son was called the Rabbeinu Yankiv Bal HaTurim, and he began codifying all the halachas and all the, and it was on that the Beis Yosef wrote his famous pirush called the Beit Yosef, and it was on the basis of that Beit Yosef that he wrote the Shulchan Aruch. So the Torah is like the forerunner of the Shulchan Aruch, an earlier state. But the Torah doesn't usually go into long, what you might call agadatic statements, like homiletic in Yonim. He's more interested in listing the halacha. But here, when it comes to Erev Rosh Hashanah, he writes a very interesting thing, the Torah. And he says, Ked Isa Bator, Ekeb Saktin, Alaposik, Mi Goy Godel, Asher Lo Elokim Korevim Elo. Kashem Elokeinu, B'kol Korenu Elo. It's a pasuk in Parshas Chana. And who is great like the Jewish people, that the Abbas is close to them. So it comes along the Torah and he says, Eize Uma Ko Umazu. So the Torah says, what sort of people is like this Jewish people? Yesho Yodas Oifio Shel Elokeho. She knows the character of the Abbas. Ofi in Lashon Kodesh means a character. So the Jewish people, they know the character of the Abbas. They know what the Abbas' way of doing things is. And so he said, if we take the way the world runs things, then a person, he dresses up. He's going to a judgment, a serious judgment. He sort of dresses up in dark clothes and he tries to appear less posh because he's going to face a heavy judgment. He said, so that's what is the minhag ha'olam. Why? Because Eina Yodea Eik Yetzadinoi. He doesn't know Chas v'sholom what's going to happen in the court. You follow? Avu Yisrael Einan Kain. But Yidden are not like that. Lo yivshim leveinim or misatfim leveinim. On Erev Rosh Hashanah, what all the Yidden run around doing the second half of the day. The first half of the day they spend saying slichas and hatoras nadorim anyway. Or what do they do the rest of the day? Run around getting dressed up, and best, yom to best, taking haircuts and the whole ma'aseh. So the Torah says that lo yivshim leveinim or misatfim leveinim. In those days, that was the sign of somebody who wants to dress up posh, So that v'oiklin b'shoisim, on Rosh Hashanah itself, they eat and they drink usmeikim b'Rosh Hashanah. What are you doing eating a big suda on Rosh Hashanah and saying Chaim again? What are you doing? You're standing in a din, in a din min hashamayim. Sheyoidim shakodesh baruch hu yaseh lehem nez. They know that David's going to make a nez. In other words, that ain't nothing on me. It could be all sorts of not good things being said about them. But the Eibishter is going to make a net. What he describes the Torah, that the Eibishter is not listening to what he should be listening to, and he's nonetheless giving all the Yidden a good ear, that's called a net. That has a miraculous aspect about it, you follow? So he said, here you are on Rosh Hashanah, you're doing the exact opposite of what the minhag or Elam is. So he says, why? Because you know the character of the Eibishter, you know how he runs it, and he is going to make you a nez, and you have nothing to be afraid of. On the contrary, sit down, have a good soda and a good l'chaim and everything. Yeah. On Rosh Hashanah itself. So the Rebbe said, yeah, Omoichi dinom l'chaf schuz. He said the Eibishter does that, and he brings out their din, how do you call it, for a good, how do you say, kaf schuz, to a handful of schuz, yeah, and he said, "Korea lehem gzar dinam," and he takes the gzar din, tears it up, Korea. Now that's the most amazing statement. I mean, there's so much hidden in those few picturesque words. You know, they're very powerful words, and this is the Torah. And he was an unbelievably great man. You know the story about the Torah, right? He wrote a pirush on the Chumash called the Balaturim. You see it. It's imprinted in most of the Chumashim. So he's the same one. He wrote the Turim. So once his father, the Rosh, called him in, and he said, "Listen, I'm very proud of you that you're very involved in Psach Halacha, but he said, whenever I see you, you're always learning halachas." He said, "What's going to be with a chumash? You know, you have to learn chumash. You have to know." So he thought that his son, the Balaturim, he wasn't into chumash. So he said to his father, "Yes, Father, you're right, 100%, and I will take care of the matter." So he went away, and they say that 24 or 36 hours later, he produced that whole pirush on the whole chumash, which is called the Balaturim, to show to his father that he does learn chumash, he shouldn't worry. And the whole pirush, that's the Balaturim. And so that's the one who writes this whole thing, that on every Rosh Hashanah, you act as if it's already gone completely away, and not only that, the Eibishter has taken the whole Gzar Din, and he's torn it up. Kaloimah, what does that mean to say? So he said, Shabnei Yisrael, Haim Umah Kazu, Shetivom, Ubahanagosam, B'chayei Ayom Yom, their nature, their very ordinary nature, and their conduct in everyday life, Gambas Managolas, Afila there in Golas, Ukazer, Sho'id Lifnei Sheyeshna Absak Din B'Poyu, even before the Eibishter has actually paskin that everything's all right, Yoidim Haim Kvabohi Bavadoet, they know with absolute surety, Shadin Yeleschus, Vahatzilo Ha'eidah, the Eibishter is going to keep the stress on the idea of Hatzilo Ha'eidah. What does that imply? Well, that implies that since the Eibishter keeps what he says you should do, he keeps all the mitzvahs, and one of the mitzvahs is Hatzilo Ha'eidah, so the Eibishter does it to perfection. He said, Poilim Shinui, Ad Shevadoi Zu Bolidei Bitui. He said it's not only sure by them, but it takes a expression in poil, in action. Upoil Shinui V'Levushim U'Macholim U'Mashkoi Shelehem Baruch Shona Ichlu Mashmanim V'Shosu Mamtochim. That's a pasuk in Nehemiah, or certainly in the pasuk in Nehemiah, that Nehemiah said to people that they should go round on Rosh Hashanah, because it's written there, it's written opposite, it's clear that it's talking about Rosh Hashanah, and he says you must go around and find out if people have, and if they haven't got, then you have to send them, you have to bring them, how do you call it, mashmanim and mamtakim. What mashmanim means, mashmanim means the idea of fatty and good foods, and mamtaki means like sweet things, things which are good and sweet. That's where the Rebbe, by the way, that's where the Rebbe learned out this whole Indian that you must get together on Erev Rosh Hashanah and send people, what's called, what is he called? I've forgotten the name. The big fund collecting for the people they should send around food to everybody for Rosh Hashanah, and also for Sukkahs and Pesach. I've forgotten what he probably knows. I've forgotten the term that the Rebbe is. Huh?
Yeah,
no, you're saying Moros Chitim, that's Pesach. It's 30
anyway,
days
it's
before.
famous. The Rebbe speaks about it. Or that's where he got it from, the Rebbe. Or that pasuk and that pasuk in Nehemiah is written in reference to Rosh Hashanah. So Rosh Hashanah is the Yom Adin. And nonetheless, Nehemiah said that people have to send around to all the people who don't have. You have to find out who has and who doesn't. And you have to send him good, fatty and very presentable and sweet foods that he should have to eat. Ki kodesh hayom le'elokeinu. For this day is, how do you call it? Shulchan Monesh le'ish asher. But that's not the name of the fund. That's what the fund says you have to do. But there's a name, I just forgot. Anyway, whatever, we learn that from Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbe says the Torah is really expressing what's from way back, that it was written in Nehemiah, that you must do that. And the Torah is saying, why is that? Because on Erev Rosh Hashanah, we send everybody good food. It's the Yom Adin, what are you doing? Send everybody good food. It's a Dovah that all Yidden are going to come out of the din in the best way, and we already know that from Erev Rosh Hashanah. And we know that based on the fact that it's written, Vatzilu ha'edo. So what we've just learned is a whole view. If we just learned that, it's a whole new view of human affairs. That the whole Indian of Jewish din and judgments and Bati din, the main emphasis is Hatzilu ha'edo. You must save them. That must be your interest. Therefore, there are all sorts of halachas that let's say somebody saw what happened. He's not allowed to be a witness. He's not allowed to be a witness because, he's not allowed to be a witness. He's allowed to be. He's not allowed to be a dayan. He's not allowed to be a dayan. Why? Because he saw it. He won't be able to hear, from different witnesses, different possibilities of saving the person, because he either knew that he had to be saved or he knew the opposite. So if he knew the opposite, he can't be Mekayim the Hatzilu ha'edo. And the Hatzilu ha'edo is a Ikar of Amela. You have to send round to Shulchan le'isha, L'monesh le'isha sha'imoi. Ulo'isha. So now, what the Rebbe is saying now is an addition. That's like that's the Yisod. And that I was there. There was one year in the Londons where the Rebbe began this whole Indian of gathering together the fund and everything. And I was there when the Rebbe made the famous Sikha, which put the whole idea into action. And Of course, nowadays it's a big time. It's a big pu'ula which takes place. To add to all that, שעניין זה מודגש גם בפרשס השבוע של השבת שממנה מזברי ראש השנה, פרשת ניצבים. The Rebbe said there's a emphasis on this whole idea in the parsha that we're going to learn and read on the Shabbat. So what does the parsha begin with? Atem nitzovim hayom kulchem lifnei Hashem elo kechem. Yeah, ko'iyel b'nei Yisrael. That's referring to Yidden. And it's one on that the Gemara says that the word hayom, stam hayom, means Rosh Hashanah. And we learn it from Pasuk in Iyov, and from all such it's put down in Zohar, the Kama is that hayom refers to Rosh Hashanah. So he says that Yidden are all standing in front of Hashem on the day of Rosh Hashanah. Koyal kol b'nei Yisrael, kol esa hamadreges shebeklal Yisrael, k'mo shenimnim behemshech hakosa. The Pasuk goes on to say, Atem Nitzovim-Vayelech kulchem, and then it says, Roshechem shivtechem mi choytevatzecha choymamecha, and that's all together. If you count them carefully, it's all together 10 madrigas. 10 madrigas indicates the whole Klal Yisrael, but that's connected the Esa spirit. So he said, Kol echad mi Yisrael befrat, not just in general, connected, that's referring to the whole Klal Yisrael, but he says referring to each individual Yid, he's also Nitzov in front of the Eivester as part of the Klal. So he says, and with every Yid, what is the 10? He said, "Keneged ha'esas firas, k'fi she'im kayomim b'gilui b'kol echad v'echad miyes, royal kineshoma bagu." As well known in Tanya, that all the koiches of a Jewish neshoma all come from the 10 spheres. At the end is written in Tanya in Perek Gimel. Avamela says the Rebbe, that follows then that all Yidden on Rosh Hashanah are standing in front of the Eibishter, but not just standing, but they're standing in a way of Nitzovim. So the Rebbe said, what's this word Nitzovim? He said, K'fi she'im oimdim b'yom adin de Rosh Hashanah, because Hayom is well known, it refers to Rosh Hashanah. So they're standing not stam, but they're standing in front of the Eibishter on Rosh Hashanah. He said, Hagam shezeu yom adin, even though that's the day of judgment, nonetheless, oindim heim, even to Nitzovim, they're standing in a way of standing firmly and very definitely, and therefore kayomim oindim. The Targum brings down atem kayomin yom adain. It means you're standing firmly and with permanency. For omdim dainu shezeichim badin hachilo ha'ida. That means that they're standing in such a way that they're being, the Abish is being Mekayim them Hatzilo Ha'eda. And that's why it is that they're standing firm. So we see here like a combination of two amazing factors. On the one hand, Alle Yidden on Rosh Hashanah stand in front of the Abish to bebittel Otto. The whole meaning of Rosh Hashanah is bittul and is battle. On the other hand, they stand firmly. Nitzo is the idea of standing very firmly. For example, nowadays, when they call somebody to the army, he has to report, and that's called lihityatzeu. That's from the same word. You've got to stand. If you call to the army, can't be just a little boichicle. You got to stand firm. Well, that's the idea of firmness and what we might call definite confidence, So the Rebbe said, what are they doing standing Nitzovim on Rosh Hashanah? Because they are for sure that the Eivus is keeping this mitzvah of Hatzilo Ha'ida. ויש לומר שזה קושו גם עם הפירוש בניצובים מלושן ניצוב מלך. There's a pasuk in Malachim which says that at a certain period in Edom there weren't any kings at that time. Loi Nitzov Melech is not standing firm, a king at that particular time. So we see that a standing of a king and his being present as a king over his country is called by the word Nitzov Melech. So if you're described as standing by Oven Shel Nitzovim, well, that means it's like almost like a royal. It's a royal standing. And how is a royal standing? Full of positivity, but confidence and taker. You follow? Yeah. So that's what the Rebbe says, that Nitzovim Meloshem Nitzov Melech, שכל אחד בערב בישראל עומד בראש שונה כמו מלך. And so what is a melech? A melech is a person that not only stands in a royal way, but he has control over a whole portion of the world. That's why he's a king. So he says that means that on Rosh Hashanah you are like a melech al kol ha'matzias svivoy. You have to stand in a way that you're like a king on all the situation, or let's put it, the whole matzias, how do you call it, the whole entity of your environment. You are like a ruler over your whole environment. V'ad melech al kol seidish talshalas. He said, you're not just a melech on your surrounding, but you are like a royal figure, like all the elements and all the histolshalas of the elements. Because a yid, being like he is, he's higher than the whole histolshalas or element. So he has a certain royal status, like the whole histolshalas of all the world. He said, "Shekain kol echad v'echad b'Yisrael v'matzov yehu." He said, just the way you are, without producing all the best that you can produce, just the way you are, Harihu Melech. Yeah? And he said, where do you get that from? Where do you get the power to be a Melech? He said, Hu mekabel memelech malchei amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? You get that power and that inner force to be a Melech. He said, Shemaktirim, he said, you get it from the king. And who makes him a king? He said, Shemaktirim Moisei b'Rosh Hashanah, that we are making the Eibishter into a king, and we make the Eibishter Melech HaKol Ha'olam. Yeah, and that's what we do. Shetamlichuni Aleichem. That's the Gemara in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, that you have to say Malchias in order to be Tamlichuni Aleichem, which means that you coronate the king over you. So you coronate the king over you, and he immediately gives you koyah to be a king in your own right. In other words, you make the Eivester into Melech al Kol Ha'olam, and he makes you into a Melech al Kol Ha'olam. Which means that, how do you call it? You're a Ben Melech, you're like a member of the royal family, how do you say? You are
prince.
You have control over the Eivester has control over everything, and you have pretty big adequate pull and pretty big control in the whole Seidish Toshel of the element. So he says, Kipsaktin Hanal Datua, Shebnei Yisrael Yoidim Miroish, they know from way back, Shazoichim Batin, that the Eivester is going to give them a very good psak din. Kiven shahem goy godel ashaloi elokim kravim elo, because we are a great people. What is our greatness? That the Eivester is korev to us. He's not going to we're not just stam korev, but we are making him into the king. And therefore, we have a special connection with him. Avamera o mishum kak yoidim haim oifye shel elokeiho. This is a people that they know the characteristic and the character of the Eibishter. Yevaheim b'dagas melech. They themselves become like a melech. And that's the message of the word Nitzovim. V'lochein hei mekablim al yidei zeh shemekablim lemelech malchei hamlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Es kol am shochis b'ashpoez k'fi shezeh magia lamelech. They get on, if they're malachim, then the Eivus has to look after them in the proper way. Therefore, every Yid gets on Rosh Hashanah a royal adequate portion, as Hashem looks after him, like a member of the royal family. It's called Am Shoches Kafisha Magil Amelech. He doesn't have to make any error. If you're part of the royal family, then you don't have to spend a lot of your time saying to the Arabs, listen, give me please, give me. He's already decided, just because you're a Yid, he's decided already that he's going to give you. So all you have to do is act like a king. That's what the Torah said. You got to act like a king. You know the famous story that of a Yid who he came to a grill that was known to be a big miser. He never gave anybody, and he was a collector. So they said, don't go to him, he doesn't give. He said, no, I'm going to go, doctor. So he walks in, and he's there for about a quarter of an hour, and he walks in with a huge check. They take him. So everybody said to him, this is amazing, he's never given like that before. So another schnorrer in the same area, he said, I'm going to cash in, this appears to be a good moment. So he went also. So he meets up with the first guy afterwards. He said, no, how much did you get? He said, he never gave me anything. He went back to his miserhood. He said, never gave me anything. He said, he gave it. So somebody met up with the Greer, and I said, listen man, what's with you? Well, that fellow came in, he gave him a huge check. He said, this other guy came in and he sent him away with money. What's your story? So the Greer said that the first guy that came, he acted like a Greer. He didn't act like a schnorrer. He didn't come and say, I have nothing, and maybe you would give. But he came in, he was brave. And he said, listen, I got big things to do. I want big money. So I didn't come here for nothing. So the Greer said, he sees another Greer, he said, another, does he? Take him. So he gave him. He said the next guy came in like all these other paupers, He said, I got no time for paupers, He said, he came in and he said, listen, maybe you got something for me, I'm really, my situation, and my Moses is in a bad situation. So he said, if so, you don't get anything. That's exactly, in a certain sort of way, that's what the Torah is saying, that you got to be brave. Because you are, very essence, you are a king, you follow? And you're a member of the royal family, and you have unbelievable powers hidden in you on the neshama. So act that way, be that way, do it that way. Show that you are confident that you're getting the best possible thing from the king. You follow? As the old saying in heaven, don't be a smartu, don't be a smarta. That's what the Torah says. All Yidden stand v'adarabah. Also, it's forbidden for a king to do any malacha. A king is not allowed to do any simple work. Every everything that a king, once a person becomes a king, he's not allowed to do. And if anybody sees him doing a malacha, well, that's considered a tremendous disgrace. And there's even a Gemara, the Rebbe brings it down, there's a Gemara Masechta Kiddushin that said even if you become an important person and you have certain powers over the tzibur, you're not allowed to do a malacha with 3 people seeing. Sort of a simple job. People have to look after you.
Also a chassan.
Huh?
A chassan.
A chassan, yeah. A chassan also. That's a chassan, he's doing malamela. He's like a king. Malamela said the Rebbe, a king is forbidden to do malacha. Yeah, kasher erev me'anshei ha'malucha. If he's on his own in the middle of a desert, then he has no problem. But as long as somebody in the Medina is able to do it, he's not allowed to do the malacha. How much more so, we're talking about a whole group of Eden together, not just one. Yeah? But a whole group, they for sure to do malacha. Therefore, the more you have, that's the greatness of the king. So Barov Am Hadras Melech doesn't necessarily mean that if the more people you have, the greater the splendor of the king. But it means that Rov Am, they have in themselves also a Hadras Melech, because they're all Malachim, and the more of them together, the more they gain, like this royal status. It's a politic idea. So you on Erev Rosh Hashanah, you have to spend your time making sure that you're preparing for what Hashem is ready and willing to give. But don't spend your time worrying about how am I going to persuade the Eivishter to give me something. That's not necessary. He has already prepared you, and if you will just act in the right way, then you will get it. The Rebbe says you don't have to make a ishtadlut. Now that doesn't mean that you don't have to have kavanah and Rosh Hashanah and tefillas. That's another thing. That's considered with the Haktorah. That you'll be incarnated. But as far as you yourself, you already looked after. It's an amazing idea. It comes out that the whole message that the Rebbe is getting over to us is that on Erev Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah, you have to worry about the Eivishter. You have to worry about being makti him. Once you're concerned about being makti him, he will look after you. Whatever is the best possible solution for you, you'll get. You follow? But if you spend a lot of time worrying about yourself and taking efforts to sort of make sure you will get a good portion, you're, as it were, using time incorrectly on Rosh Hashanah. Your time should be given only to worrying about the coronation. Yeah, it's an amazing idea. He said, Aika v'shleima, the very principal aspect and the perfection of a tzilo ha'ida, היא הצולה מהמימד ומצב הנוכחי של הגולה. The Rebbe said that if the Eivishter is on Rosh Hashanah, he's Mekayim the Sinyan, that the Sanhedrin has to save the judge person, then he said the biggest saving of a Yid is to get him out of the matzav of the Golas. If you're going to be Mekayim, this Hatzilo, Ha'eda, then the Eivishter said you got to get Yidden out of the Golas. בגולה מידבה שלמה כי אפילו אלה שיש להם גם עכשיו בגולת הרחובה בפרנסה רוחניות והרחובה בפרנסה גשמיות, אפילו people who think that even though they're in Golas but they got everything good, they have parnasa and they have they learn a lot, they have shurim, they're into learning and everything, so they think they're all right. So the Rebbe says, "Afila el shenimtzoim be'eretz hakodesh," even those who live in Eretz Israel, Al Har HaKodesh. Let's say they manage to get up occasionally, close to the Mokim of the Beis Hamikdash, V'shom Gufa. The Mokim Aki Korev, the Mokim Kodesh HaKadoshim. You can't go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim nowadays, but you can get as close as you can. In other words, the Koisel or things of that nature. Arigam Heim Oimrim Shom. They say in front of the Koisel and in front of the Mokim of the Beis Hamikdash, they say Mipnei Chatoenu Golinu Me'otzeinu. They say that's Golem. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you have, you're in Golas. And you're not only in Golas, but you're in Golas because there was faults and things which led to it. The Emesa Hatzilo Ha'eda is to build the Beis HaMikdash. That's what he says. Shekein Adayin Ein Lanu Es HaMikdash Hashem Keinu Yodecha. We don't have the Beis HaMikdash that the Eberst has promised to send it down Menashon. You will build the Beis Hamikdash and it will come down Menashon. V'adayin ein es a matzav a kol yoishveya aleiha. We don't yet have the halakhic requirement that all her dwellers are upon the land. That means that all the Yidden and the whole Jewish people live in Eretz Yisrael. It's called Kol Yeshvei Aleha. For example, if you don't have Kol Yeshvei Aleha, there's a lot of halachas which we can't keep. One of them is Shmita, and one of them is Yovel. And there are several halachas that require that not just the majority of it being Eretz, but all of them. So the Rebbe said, we don't have Ben Time Kol Yeshvei Aleha, Shadavki Oz Yeshna B'Shleimas, Kol Einyonim. Then there's all the mitzvahs can be kept. Koyilo mitzvahs yovel. Yeah? And what is so great about mitzvahs yovel? So it's written by that, Shekashura b'miyuhad im shichrua v'gila. It's written by the yovel that you have to free all the servants. Even those servants who said that they want to stay with their master, not leave them, they go out by yovel. Everybody goes back to his real place on the yovel. So the Rebbe said that's a way of saying that if the Rebbe will bring back everybody to Israel, and then he'll be able to keep the yovel. Well, that's the whole idea of letting free all the servants from the God. So he said, "Zadavki al yeshna b'shleimus kol ha'inyonim koilo mitzvahs yovel shekashura b'miyudim shikra v'gila k'may shekosav v'shabtem ish el achuzosei v'ish al mishpachtei toshur b'shnas hayovel," that you must return everybody to his original piece of land which was given to him, and ish al mishpachtei, you have to give him back to his family. Yeah, b'shnas hayovel. Afilo kazeh, even Azachot meant that he said, "Oh, havti es adini." He said, "I want to stay with my master." Ve'ena yoytzev b'shvi. He doesn't go out in Shemitah. In Shemitah he doesn't go out. But b'yovel he goes out. So the Rebbe said, "Oh, that's the union of the emissar hatzilo ha'edo is when the Abraham will bring back Ali Yidden, everybody to Israel, and then there'll be the shleimas, the tashuvu ishal mishpaktei, and the whole shleimas, other gula shleima. Oh, that's an amazing. So he said, "V'yesh shleima shashaycha shel yom hadin de Rosh Hashanah ima giula." Well, that's what Shilo ha'ida. Mudgeshes kam bekach sheberosh Hashanah you avoided the Kabbalah's Malchusei Bora. Yeah, what have to do in Rosh Hashanah? You are Makti, the king, and that involves that you take on this whole new Kabbalah soil. So the Rebbe said, you avoided the Kabbalah, but Malish Bakashosei Shal HaKodesh Baruch Hu. Well, that's what the Eibusher wants that to happen, and therefore he says to Yidden, Tamlichuni Aleichem, please make me into a king. over here. But that's what the Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah says, that you have to take on yourself. You have to say Malchias, because you got to take on yourself the Eber's kingship. Why? Because he wants it. That's what he begs of you and asks of you. In other words, he can be king over the whole world, but he wants it to come through you. Talmud Kuno, Oimers HaGemara, the Talmud Bavli. Shekosher in Golas. Well known, the Talmud Bavli was Dakim Bovel, and Bovel was Golas. And the Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, B'machshakim Moheshivani, that the Talmud Bavli is like a dark place. You have to struggle with kashas and truzim to get the light. You follow? So he said, Shemalchusi is bara keshura, umizgal is b'shleimus alidei David Malcha Mashiach. As I mashma in the Gemara, exactly what piece of the Gemara over there the Rebbe is referring to is a little bit not clear, but it seems to me that probably what the implication is that we say 10 psuki malchus. Tamlichuni aleichem involves 10 psuki, and a large number of them are from Tehillim, and they're from David Melech himself. Alei David Melech Mashiach, Shinyone hu sfirasa amal. It's well known that David HaMelech, he's the whole in of Kabbalah Samal, the whole in of Amal. So he says, "Umizeh muvan shebamdeinu ko'eish v'ragoyim achreinim shelifnei geula." So the Rebbe said it follows Lefizeh that we're standing now in the last moments before the geula is going to occur. Al pi kol simonim hu kanal, according to all the signs that Hashem has given, and according to everything that's brought down in Sforim, that's going to be, it's all taking place. And Canal refers to an earlier Sikha, not to the Sikha that we learned here. Tzorich hadin, b'yomim eilu, yemei hadin, lahovi es ha'ika v'ashleimat, tahatzilo ha'edo, ha'gula amitis v'ashleimat. So the Rebbe said, Davki, on this Erev Rosh Hashanah, we have to come to the shleimas of Hatzilo Ha'ida, but that's the Indian of the Gula Mitzvah Ashleima, because the whole arrangement and the whole setup of the whole world appears that that's what we're holding by. You know? That all the signs and all the things are being makur. That the Rebbe said in an earlier secret. And we take of miyad mamish. So the Rebbe says immediately, without any hesitation, without getting into a whole discussion per se. Shakli Vatari means like a called approval. There's no time for a approval, for a discussion. He said, Ki tzriki miyad lalechas lekabel es pnei hagiula mitzvah shleima. We have to go immediately to receive the face of the Geula, Mityas, Vashlema, the David Malchama, Mashiach. We have to be Makabal, David HaMelech, and David Malcham Mashiach, the Kveit Kedushas, Meir V'chami, the Friedrich Rebbe, Admur B'Rosheinu. He will be our leader. It says here's another hint that who is the leader. He was in the Rebbe at that particular time. Yamuvan shekol regel shemizdazim b'siyum ha'inyonim shekoidem hazeh, that anything can be done to speed up all the inyonim. Afilo a moment also is important prior to the coming of the Gula. It's a minute before the Geula, so you can understand how much you have to be energetic about that minute. That's pretty amazing. So later on, the Rebbe finds a whole I'm going to have to pause now. I just don't know what quick, but the Rebbe now talks about Parshas Vayelech, because our Kriyas this year is also the same. We have Nitzovim-Vayelech. So the Rebbe said Nitzovim means to stand with royalty and with Toikev, like we said. At the end of Vayelech means not to stand but to go. So the Rebbe said the emissary in it is that we've got to go from Nitzovim into Vayelech. We've got to go from standing with all this royalty and with all this Toikev into moving straight into Jerusalem, America. We've got to go straight over into the Geulah. And then he says a little closer towards the end of the Sikha that it's well known that Erev Rosh Hashanah is the birthday of the Tzemach Tzedek. And he said the two names, Tzemach and Tzedek, are two names for Mashiach. There's one on the word Tzemach is a name of Mashiach, and Tzedek is also brought down, Mashiach Tzidkenu, because his name is also Tzedek. The Mashiach has a name, Tzedek. They're based on Psukim. So Tzemach Tzedek are two names for Mashiach. So the Rebbe said that indicates that the whole Indian of the Tzemach Tzedek is the zeros, that he called it, of the Geulah, that he called the speeding up of the Geulah, and particularly he was the third, but that's the Indian from Tiferes, and Tiferes is like in the Spirit's Geulah, it's the leading middle spirit, and it's also got to do with Das. What Das means in Kesher, Shkashra, that's a very high madriga. So Dafka on the birthday of the Tzemach Tzedek is we got all this Messina Square to all the Indian. And Dafka through his example and his Torah, then we'll be able to, and the Rebbe says he's like a certain generality, because he was both Nigla and Siddhas, tremendous quantities of both Nigla and Siddhas, but that's like a sort of a close of all the Torah of Chabad. It's like a general expression of all the Torah's Chabad, but that's going to lead us straight into Atzilo Ha'eda, straight into the Geulah Midish Ashleim. So that's basically it. That's like the main picture. So you gotta be Nitzovim, but you gotta get moving.
The Rebbe predicted that the Gulf War would end on Purim in 1991.
It was in Nonalo.
Yeah, 1991.
But this is on Beit.
Right. If he would have announced on Purim 1991, when Saddam Hussein surrendered, I am going to Eretz Yisrael, that would have been a good time for the Rebbe to come to Israel.
The Rebbe said he would go to Eretz Yisrael?
No, it would have been a good time.
That's his... But I have a question. He wanted the Rebbe to go in Purim to Eretz Yisrael.
You wanted him to go?
Yes, it would have been a good moment.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And the Rebbe foretold that by Purim it would be over.
Why did the Rebbe never come to visit Eretz Yisrael? Why did he not come?
Why did he not come?
Yeah, why?
If I would know,
yes,
then I could open up an office.
You were in Kfar Chabad in 1991.
Did you understand what I said here?
No.
If I knew why the Rebbe did not come, then I would be like a Rebbe myself and be able to open up an office.
Can you tell me, like over here, this word here, Mordechai, this word here, does that mean to keter, to coronate? Is that what we're saying?
Is that right? Coronate, yeah.
And this word over here, galino.
Revealed. We were exiled from our land.
What's this word mean?
Exile.
You say that in every Muslim. on Yom Tov. You say, Mepnei Chatoinu, Golinu, Golinu.
Because of our sins, because of our sins.
Even if you're standing in front of the Koisel, you have to say that we've gone away from Eretz Yisrael. There's a simon that you might be in Eretz Yisrael, but you're in Galus.
You're in Galus.
Got the idea?
Yeah, and Chatenu is
so what
our
the Rebbe
sins.
is saying is that until Moshe actually comes, it's Galus.
It's Israel. It's not Eretz Israel. Mazel tov, Mordechai. I was not on the in the area, and I wasn't on the computer, so I didn't hear until.
Not on your phone. You didn't see it on the WhatsApp.
I'm not on the WhatsApp. Oh, on WhatsApp. Yeah, but anyway, I was not in the city. I was in Netanya.
All right.
I was out, and
Okay, we got three Shabbos sleepers.
three.
Three is prepared.
So it says here, Rabbi Gafni. It says here, this is a Tishrei guide from Morristown. And it says, I'm sure that you know it, but other people could know it too, that Erev Yom Kippur, it says, where it says Erev Yom Kippur, that the Rebbe blesses the whole world.
I suppose I want to say that.
Yes, of course.
Because he used to bless the Bocher with Birchas Kohanim, you know.
Right.
And then the Rebbe would, like he did here, this was a Rosh Hashanah. On every Yom Kippur, he would also say, "All Sefer." You got him?
Yeah.
Close to now, if you're not the rest of you, I can continue there now. All the best.
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim Yisrael.
Okay. Now we have the fat and the sweet. Oh, sweets. We didn't do the sweets. We got fat and sweets. We did it.
This is Paris.
Fat, sweet. What else is there to say?
Huh?
What else is there to say?
When you ask me what is there to say, also.
Amen.
Einstein was in Crown Heights. Rabbi Lipska's shir, he told Rabbi Lipska, if the game of Chassid, so Rabbi Lipska said, L'chaim, I wasn't there. I said, I want to see him. Can he hook me up?
Who is there? Florenstein?
Florenstein from Yeshiva.
Rabbi Yoram.
Pasternak and Florenstein?
Oh, Florenstein. I heard Florenstein.
No, Florenstein, right.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam v'yireh p'kol.
Amen.
Chaim.
Chaim Lebron.
Amen.
So, I just want to describe to you, we were just learning now about Erev Rosh Hashanah, what it was like. It's impossible to go into all the details, but just a few basic words, what it was like in the years that I was by the river on Erev Rosh Hashanah, and how we were zeicher to stand in line and give your pan to the Rebbe is an unbelievable experience. Because at a moment like that, the Rebbe, he looked at everybody. He didn't, and everybody who gave the pan, the Rebbe would take the pan and he would say, Lashon HaTeva, Ksiva Nasim HaTeva, Lashon HaTeva. But just imagine everybody who gave the Rebbe a pan, he said, so the Rebbe was just repeating hundreds of times the whole time, Lashon HaTeva, yeah, that's the way I mean, the Rebbe would take the pan. And he would sort of put it into like a sort of pile that he had, and then when the pile became very big, he would step for a moment into his office and put it in an ordered way on the table, and then he would come back to receive. Further. So I just want to mention, in reverence, later in the day, when he'd finished all of that, the Rebbe used to go out to the oil, and he would spend a long time out at the oil, reading all the panim and the Rebbe had a special little sort of like small room at the end of the cave at the oil with a little sort of plastic protection, like window and a door and everything. And the Rebbe would knock on the door before he walked in. That's your door. So the Rebbe, on Erev Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe would be there inside the oil with all the people around the oil praying, and the Rebbe is inside his like special little thing, and all the people are all around, big numbers of people packed all around the oil. And it was amazing, you could actually see the Rebbe inside. And the Rebbe had on his glasses, he had big glasses, and he had on his glasses, and he was reading pans one after the other, and he used to drop them through this little window. It wasn't fixed to the wall. It was like a sort of a loose wall, and the Rebbe could drop his hand through it, and he would drop all the panim onto the actual cave. And it was amazing. You just sit there over really long time, putting one after the other. And I was there one year when I was there, that I had quite I was alongside the oil, and I had a sort of a diagonal view, and I could actually see the river very clearly. I could see him. Yeah, and I saw his glasses and everything. I saw how the Rebbe was reading the pans, and then he would tear them slightly, before he threw them onto the actual oil, one after the other. It was amazing, and I had a very close view, right up to light. Most of the oil would go away already, and the Rebbe would still be there. And he would come back to 770 just a short time before Yom Tov came in. And he would go into his office, get himself quickly ready for Yom Tov. Then the next thing the Rebbe was down at 770s with all these thousands of people. And he hasn't been all that long back from the oil. Well, it's just mind-boggling. So just to add a certain little personal touch to this whole thing, I'm going to tell you a brief story that occurred to me and my Rebbetzin, not on Rosh Hashanah. It wasn't Rosh Hashanah, but it was Yud Tis Kislev. It was a day, either the actual day of Yud Tis Kislev or Kof Kislev. I'm not sure. So we were staying in a certain place in Kronhout that we were near to an old Talmud of mine. We were very close to him, and he suggested that he and his wife and me and my wife, we should go out to the oil, and pray by the oil. So we agreed to the idea. This was It was probably in the early Mams or the late Lemons. So we went out to the oil. And we got into the oil and we prayed. And then my Talmud and myself, we decided that we were going to leave. And we stepped out of the oil and we started to go down there. But my wife and his wife, they said they want to stay on a bit if we don't mind. So we said, okay, we'll go a bit further down the base of Chaim, we'll talk, you know, and we'll wait for you closer to the gate. So we just started walking down the main path, you know, all of a sudden we see this big car coming, burning up between all the cars. It's the Rebbe's car. And young Klein was, he was driving. And in the back we see the Rebbe. So we stood attentive to the side, and the car drove over quite a speed, right up to the oil, came to a stop, and the Rebbe stepped out. And the Rebbe went into, so we sort of followed to see what was going to happen. So the Rebbe went in, and my wife and his wife are standing alongside, you know, the cave around there. And they didn't know that the Rebbe was coming. All of a sudden my wife takes a look into the Rebbe's room, and she sees the Rebbe's there. At first she thought it was like a dream, you know, but then she realized that it's the case. So she says to the lady that she's with, listen, we've got to get out of here quick, you know. The Rebbe's here, we can't stand here. So that's what they thought. So they start, you know, and they started backing out through the more rear-like entrance. There were two entrances. And they sort of backed out. So you know what happened? They get just outside the oil. All of a sudden, Ben Klein comes running after them, and he said, where are you going? So they said, well, we're just stepping out of the oil, and we saw the Rebbe arrive. So he said, the Rebbe said to me, go and tell those women that they must not leave because of me. Yeah. And they can stand there and pray as much as they want. It doesn't disturb me. The Rebbe said, I want as many people should pray on my Shver's grave. He said, I don't want people to leave because of me. That's what he said to Ben Klein. So Ben Klein comes running after, and in the meantime, we'd come back from the direction we'd gone, and we met up with the woman, and we're talking with him, and all of a sudden, he comes running down Ben Klein, and he says to us, and we couldn't believe our eyes. You know, we thought, you know, it was like a revelation, you know, from a dream. It was something very special. So then they said to Ben Klein, so what should we do, you know? So he said, well, go back, you know, and continue praying. So they said, isn't it a question to leave a grave and then go back on the same day? He said, but if the Rebbe said, you don't have to worry. So they went back and they prayed, and the Rebbe was there, and they were inside the oil with the Rebbe for about a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes. Just them along with the Rebbe. Yeah. And the Rebbe saw them leaving, and he didn't want to go. And he told Ben Klein to run after them and correct it.
Who was the other woman in this story?
I'm sorry?
Who was the other woman again? Who was the other woman?
For certain reason, I don't want to mention who it was. But somebody that you guys might know, and it would sort of lead to a whole discussion. But That's what happened. The two ladies, my wife and this lady. And the Rebbe didn't like that they left. Amazing, absolutely.
Wow.
And we couldn't figure, we were very moved and shaken, it was a tremendous thing. So there we are, guys. That's the Rebbe, and that's Melech HaMashiach. That's his way. Take me out, man.
Amen.
Chaim, Chaim. Over the way the cow came on. Then we see the river. I jump out. The cow came to a stop, and the river opened the door and he got out very malicious. And he went in, and then I see the video and comes out. Yeah. So there we are, guys. So listen, the Chaim. I just want to give you over a word. He's coming to get me at 20 to 10. And I have to go, I'm not feeling well. And I don't want there to be a mess up with ניתן. He gets a bit upset if we keep him waiting. So what I want to tell is like this. The first time I was by the Rebbe, Rosh Hashanah, at a forbidden on Rosh Hashanah, after the Maimah. The Rebbe first of all said a Maimah, and then he said a Sikha after, and he spoke about the whole what the Rebbe said several Sikhas in reference to this, but this was the first time I ever heard about the whole story with Hannah, that she, it's written in the Gemara that she prayed. It was Rosh Hashanah, and she prayed, and Hashem answered her prayer. She went up to the Beis HaMikdash and she prayed. But that was on Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbe gave over a whole sikha about it, and in the middle, the Rebbe wept. Wow. He wept very. The Rebbe used to have always buy a proband. He had like inside his pocket here, he had a, what do you call it,
handkerchief.
Sort of white handkerchief. Mm-hmm. So the Rebbe took out the handkerchief and he wiped his face. And he was so emotionally affected. It's a bit hard for me to deal with guys right in the middle of nothing. I don't know what they want to hear, but I'm in the middle of telling something. The Rebbe spoke like this. Yeah, the Rebbe spoke like this. And the Rebbe said that it's not understandable, the whole thing that happened with Eli HaKoyer. He saw Hannah praying, right? And he saw her lips moving and everything. And he said to her, "You are drunk. You're shikar." That's what he said to her. And then she said, "No, that's not true. But I'm pouring out my heart in front of the I'm pouring out my heart in front of Hashem, and I'm asking for a son." So then Eli changed it, and he said, "Oh, if that's the case, then there's no doubt Hashem will answer your prayer." And he gave her a whole bracha. So the Rebbe said, what do we need to be told, this whole thing that he made a mistake and she corrected him? That's not, nogea. how do you call it, it's not important to the whole story. And not only that, it's not even how do you call it, like a respectful thing that we hear that the Kohen Gadol made, and he was like the guardian of the Mikdash at that time, that he made a mistake, you follow? And she corrected him. So what do we need to know that for? You know? So you know what the Rebbe said? The Rebbe said a very interesting thing. The Gemara says that happened on Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbe said that when you come to daven on Rosh Hashanah, you don't daven about your own Inyan. It's just like we learned in the city. Your whole Inyan is a Torah Samit. You have to coronate the king. He said, therefore, when you come into the shul on Rosh Hashanah, you forget about yourself, and your whole Inyan is Kabbalah Zel, Malchus Shemayim, and the Inyan of coronating and making the Eivishter a Melech HaKol, that's the whole. They're called a Isaac, Shokha, bebeit Knesset. And so the Rebbe said, just in passing, he said, not like a lot of these people who sit and sort of look at the clock, you know. But the Rebbe said, you must not look at the clock on Rosh Hashanah. You must not show we're in the middle of the coronation of the king, that you're worried about, you know, that might have another half an hour for me, you know, you're not concerned about it. So the Rebbe said, since Eli understood, and he was the Kohen Gadol, he was in charge of the whole Mikdash, he thought that she was praying something about herself. So he said, you are shekoira with this world. You are shikar with inyanim of Elam Hazeh, because today is Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, you don't think about yourself. You only think about coronating the king as a melech HaKol HaOlam. And therefore, he said to her, shekoira, he didn't mean she'd been drinking wine. He meant you're a shekoira, but Elam Hazeh. In your Elam Hazeh, you're like a shikura, and it's got no place here.
How's that translated in English now? It's still.
Huh?
It changes the. What's the shikura? What does that mean in English?
She's all taken up.
Taken up.
Yeah, she's all involved. In Yiddish, fashikat. Fashikat means like, you know, you Google it by it. So, yeah, how to call it, you're drunk with it.
Rabbi Gafni, there's two people here, I just want to say a Kaddish, because Zalman Turnik has your time.
Kommt in a Pomenot.
Nein, ich weiß, ich will nur sagen ein Kaddish.
Und ich kann nicht geteilt. Ob sie wollen sagen Kaddish, darf sie sagen jetzt.
Ja, okay, gut.
No, but English.
Yeah, there is a English too, guys.
Hij wil zeggen. Ja. Hij wil zeggen. Ja.
Zalman Turnik hat your time. Einfach nach.
Zalman Turnik's
We couldn't make it tomorrow, we just released from the hospital.
So where's he? He's not well?
He's at home.
He's on the pill.
No.
It's not 10 people.
Yeah, we got two guys behind me.
Amen. So I just want to finish up because it's very important that you go on with this message.
So, what did Hannah answer him? You follow? What did she say that swung Eli the other way? So she, how do you call it? She said to him, I'm pouring out my soul in front of Hashem. You follow? And when the Rebbe said that, Rebbe wept. So then there was some poem. So the Rebbe said, what did she want with that answer? The Rebbe said she was saying to Eli, my whole neshama is in this. It's not me. You know, I need a son just for a boss of a dog, that I should be able to say I have a son. She said, I have a son because I want that he should be a continuation of Ratzon Hashem in this world. You follow? And therefore I'm pouring out my soul, because my soul came down in the world to do Ratzon Hashem. I want to have a son who will continue doing that. And Eli got the point. So the Rebbe said in Yiddish, he said, I need to have a fleshly son. I need to have a son that he will carry on the work of my neshama. And he will carry on the work of Ratzon Hashem, B'mata B'zeh Ha'olam. So whenever he heard that, he realized that he'd made a mistake. But that we need to learn that, and we need to know how he realized that he'd made a mistake. Can we learn from what he made a mistake about? He shouldn't be drunk with Elam Hazeh, Rosh Hashanah. Number two, we learn what Hannah showed him that she really wanted in having a child. And when he heard that, he said to her, he said, Hashem Elokei Yisrael will doubtless give you your request. You want him? So that's the message. That's the message. So you follow it more time. So what it comes out is that Rosh Hashanah, we gotta be busy with, we shouldn't be shikah with Zeh Ha'olam. And we shouldn't be worried, when we're going to get finished with all the davening, when do we get home? We're busy being Makti the Melech. That's what we're doing right now. We're busy with that.
Hayom.
Yeah, Hayom. Don't have anything else to do. So she said, I'm not busy with my own. I'm busy with him and his will. That's another thing. But when the Rebbe said that, and then the Rebbe said, he actually cried twice. But later, when he said, Iktav Hogman, a fleshly son, I need him, then he cried again. Wow. Very powerful. And I'm sitting there, and this is the first time I've ever been by the Rebbe.
Kov Zion?
This is Kov Zion. Kov Vov, I arrived, but this is Rosh Hashanah. I could have been there, Kov Tov, but the Rebbe didn't let me. Chaim.
Chayim.
So there we are. So that's my Erev Rosh Hashanah message. Wow, was that powerful. But then later, they benched, and the Rebbe gave out kosher bracha, and turned freely, tremendous. And the Rebbe would put down the course every now and turn to the bottom. And the bottom were all jumping there. And all of a sudden the Rebbe would go like that, and that's frightening, So they were all, the whole thing was on with this clap. I don't know how it kept going, how it stood under the pressure. Unbelievable. I had a whole mess when I went past with it for Kosher Bracha. I think I told you, but anyway, I'll tell you another time.
Chיים.
Okay, guys, I gotta move. I don't want to keep this guy waiting. ישי, אתה יכול לשאול בטלפון אם הוא איפה הוא נמצא?
אלי?
Yeah.